You know how Fox has a weird way of counting Simpsons episodes? They refuse to count a couple of them, making the amount of episodes insentient. The reason for this is a lost episode from season 1. Finding details about this missing episode, no one who has worked on the show at the time likes to talk about it. From what's been placed together, the lost episode was written entirely by Matt Golding during the production of the first season. Matt started to act strangely. He was very quiet, seemed nervous and morbid. Mentioning this to anyone will prevent results to and then getting very angry and forbidding you forever mentioning to Matt. I first heard of it at the event where David Silverman was speaking. Someone in the crowd asked about the episode, and Silverman simply left the stage, having the presentation hours early. The episode production number was 7G06. The title was Dead Bart. The episode labeled 7G06, Mourning Lisa was made later that given Dead Bart's production code to hide the latter existence. In addition to getting angry, if you asking anyone who was on the show about this will cause them to do anything they can to stop you from directly communicating with Matt Golden. At the fan event, I managed to follow him after he spoke to the crowd, and eventually had a chance to talk to him alone as he was leaving the building. It doesn't seem to say that I have followed him, probably expecting to get typical encounter with a Seth's fan. When I mentioned the lost episode, all color drained his face and started troubling. When I asked him if he could tell me any details, he sounded like he was on the verge of tears. He grabbed a piece of paper, wrote something about it, and handed it to me. He begged me never mention the episode again. The piece of paper had a website address on it. I would rather not say what it was, for reasons you'll see in a second. I entered the address into my browser. I came to the site that was completely black except for a line of yellow text, a download link. I click on it and a file started downloading. Once the file was downloaded, my computer went crazy. It was like the worst virus I ever seen. System restore didn't work. The entire computer has to be rebooted. Before doing this though, I copied the file into a DCD. I tried to reopen it on my now empty computer, and as I expected, there was an episode of the Simpsons on it. The episode started off like any other episode, but had poor quality animation. If you see the original animation for Some Enchanting Evening, it was similar, but less stable. The first act was fairly normal, but the way the characters acted was off. Homer seems angry, Marge seems depressed, Lisa seems anxious. Bart seems to have genuine anger and hatred to his parents. But the episode was about the Simpsons going on a plane trip. Near at the end of the first act, the plane was taking off. Bart was fooling around as he expected. However, as the plane was about 50 feet off the ground, Bart broke a window of the plane and was sucked out. At the beginning of the series, Matt had an idea that animated the style of the Simpsons world represented life, and that death turns things more realistic. This used in this episode, that pictures Bart's corpse was very recognizable. They took full advantage of not having more and made an almost photorealistic drawing on his dead body. Act 1 ended with a shot of Bart's corpse. With Act 2 started, Homer, Marge, and Lisa were sitting at their table crying. The crying went on and went on. It got more paint and sounded realistic, better acting than you would think possible. The animation started to decay even more as they cried, and you could hear murmuring in the background. The characters could barely make out. They were stretched and blurred. They looked like deformed shadows with the random bright colors on them. Their faces look in the window, flash in and out, so you can never see what they look like. This crying went for all of Act 2. Act 3 will open with a title card that says 1 year has passed. Homer, Marge, and Lisa were skeletally thin, still sitting at the table. There was no sign of Margie or Maggie or the pets. They decided to visit Bart's grave. Springfield was completely deserted. As they walked into the cemetery, the houses became more decrepit. They all looked abandoned. When they got to the grave, Bart's body was just lying in front of his tombstone, looking like it just ended in Act 1. The family stopped crying. Eventually, they stopped. It just stared at Bart's body. The camera zoomed on Homer's face. According to cemeteries, Homer tells a joke at this part, but it isn't audible in the vision I saw. I couldn't tell what Homer was saying. When the view zoomed out as the episode came to a close, the tombstones in the background had names of every Simpsons guest stars on them. It says that no one have heard of 1989. Some that haven't been on the show yet, and all of it had death dates on them. For guests who died since Michael Jackson and George Harrison, the dates were then Very would die. The credits were completely silent and seemed handwritten. The final image was on the Simpsons family on their couch, like the intros, but drawn in a hyper-realistic lifestyle of Bart's corpse. All cheered to me after seeing the episode for the first time. You could try to use the tombstones to predict the deaths of every living Simpsons guest stars, but there is something on the most ones who haven't died yet. All of their deaths are listed at the same date.